hold our head high. As a people as a whole, there are 1,000 million Muslims in the world, and as a people as a whole, we don't touch that stuff. It is our children who have been spoiled by you, the Westerners. We send them to your universities, in your environment. Your girls were freer to play with, going to the dance, this, that, and you want to ply her with alcohol so you can weaken her resistance, so you have to also play the tune. You have to also imbibe, and you can become alcoholic. This is a sickness. See, it's a disease. Some of us, we have it in our metabolism, that the first sip will land you in the gutter. You know that? Safety lies in abstinence. And the only religion on the face of the earth which says don't touch that abomination is Islam. Solves your problem. What creates the biggest society of teetotalers in the world? All the born-again Christians, 75 million born-again Christians in America. That nation with 1/3 of its people born-again angels. They say they sin no more. 1/3, 75 million. Says Billy Graham in his book, How to Be Born Again. 1/3. And this is having no effect on the people. 55 million drunkards in a nation with 75 million born again. And Jesus Christ said, a little leaven leaveneth the whole. You need a little yeast to ferment the whole loaf. You don't need so much yeast, a little bit. But if you have 1/3 yeast, and if it doesn't ferment the loaf, I was telling the Americans, I said there's something wrong with your yeast or something wrong with your flour. No? 1/3 yeast and still it doesn't work. With us, we have our shortcomings. We are not angels. But let us be exemplars. Let us preach, because when you start speaking, it is conducive to us changing our own lives. You can't benefit, you can't change. You will be changing by talking good to others. It must have influence upon your life. It will. Unless you are an out and right rank hypocrite. Which I think there are very few like that in the world. So with these words, Mr. Chairman, and my brothers and sisters, I take leave from this talk, and I pray that may Allah Bari Ta'ala make us to meet again. And for the time being, if you have any questions, I am at your disposal. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
As you have said, there is plenty of evidence of prophethood of Hazrat Muhammad, peace be upon him, in Semitic religions. Have you come across any such reference in Aryan religions?
Yes, I had read a book by Maulana Vidyarthi, Muhammad in World Scriptures, and he gives numerous proofs, quotations from the Vedas and the other books of the Hindus. But since now this is really not a problem, like in my country, the Hindus, they don't know anything about the Vedas. If I ask a Hindu whether he has read the Ramayana, he says no. Whether he's read the Bhagavad Gita, he says no. Whether he has seen a Veda, he says no. So therefore, it is not profitable to waste time about a thing which the man knows nothing about. In other words, now we must teach him about the Vedas, and before we say, now look, in the Vedas there's such and such a thing. So therefore, I have not dealt with that aspect. Yeah, it was your question, yes. Therefore, I don't deal with that aspect simply because there is no need. That type of clientele is not there.
Mr. Deedat, you have demonstrated that the early Christians were in the habit of either translating proper names or changing or Hellenizing or Latinizing proper names. Like you have demonstrated, they have translated, or changed the proper name Jesus, Esau into Jesus, and Cephas into Peter. So I think probably it would be very useful, for the other people, if you could touch. We can assume, you have demonstrated actually that in English, only in English, in the various versions of the Bible, you have three names, three translations of the person who is spoken of in the verse of John which you have read. One is advocate, one is comforter, and the other one is a counselor. And in my knowledge, in my reading of some comparative religion, I know that the Greek word is parakletos. I have also read in some Islamic literature, or some Muslim scholars assume that the original word, which I also assume, the Greek word parakletos, which must have been translated either from Aramaic or Hebrew, that in turn it has been either distorted or deliberately changed by the early Christians so that they would preclude any prophecies after Jesus. Could you possibly elaborate a little bit on the word parakletos? Because I have read that it was supposed to be parakletos, which means the praised one. Could you please elaborate for the benefit of those people who have something to say about this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, in the current Greek scriptures, the word there is parakletos. Parakletos, which means comforter. It can be translated advocate. It can be translated counselor. But in classical Greek, there is no such word as parakletos. The classical Greek is perikletos. And perikletos means the exact translation of Muhammad, the praised one. So this is what our scholars say, that the word ought to be perikletos and not parakletos. And it is perikletos is an exact translation. Muhammad, the praised one, perikletos, meaning the praised one. I hope that clarifies your question, yes.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I will seek your indulgence to ask a small...
A little louder so people can hear.
There is a small point which I wanted a clarification on and an elaboration upon. I, during my study of this subject which you had taken up, had come across two particular predictions which I vaguely remember now, which you can elaborate upon because of your intense and extensive knowledge of the Bible and the Old Testament. And two instances wherein the advent of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is mentioned in either the Old or the New Testament. One is the geographical location in Faran, which is mentioned in the Bible, in the Testament. And the other is a mention of 7 thunders, which I read in a commentary, refers to the 7 verses of Surah Fatiha. Now, if you kindly, if I recollect these two instances correctly, if you could kindly elaborate upon these two instances. Thank you.
I think I remember saying at the outset that there are numerous prophecies in the Bible. There is a mention about 10,000 saints. There is about Kedar, which is Arabia, tribes of the Quraysh, and so on. There are numerous prophecies in the Bible as it exists regarding Islam and regarding the Holy Prophet Muhammad. But I believe that it is not profitable to generalize like that. To say, oh, there are numerous, and I say, it's this one, and that one, and that one, and that one. You give one, you give two, and you prove your case. This is now, let us reason about this now. Does this convince you? It fits Muhammad like a glove. Where is your candidate? In the book of Deuteronomy, we have another. I have written a book on the subject. The whole book is based on that one verse from the book of Deuteronomy. But we never dealt with it at all tonight. What for? That itself calls for an hour's lecture. So this one an hour, that one an hour, another 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, just talking about prophecies. I'll make you drunk with knowledge. You see, it's not profitable that way. Rather, take one thing, prove your case. Take one thing, when I take this subject, Deuteronomy 18:18, it says that I will raise them up a prophet from among the brethren, like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. The same thing in Arabic, أُقِيمُ لَهُمْ نَبِيًّا مِنْ وَسَطِ إِخْوَتِهِمْ مِثْلَكَ وَأَجْعَلُ كَلَامِي فِي فَمِهِ فَيَكَلَّمُهُمْ بِكُلِّ مَا أُوصِيهِ بِهِ وَيَكُونُ أَنَّ الْإِنسَانَ الَّذِي لَا يَسْمَعُ لِكَلَامِي يَتَكَلَّمُ بِهِ بِإِسْمِي أَنَا أُطَالِبُهُ. In Hebrew, Navi Akim Lahim Mekariv. So look, if you deal with that, then you deal with that. If you deal with this, you deal with that. But you start generalizing, you say, this one too, and that one too. The guy says, no man, this is too far-fetched.